But in terms of the organizational effort, the call for help has gone out to everyone. I think that you're going to see this as a massive international effort that's going to be coming in here. At the most, certainly the U.S. is already helping with some ships that they say are going to be coming to the region for some supplies. The U.S. has helped with helicopters. Some minimal drops at this point in terms of recovery, but I think this is going to be ground zero of the international aid community, not only for the next couple of days, but probably for the next weeks and months.
All right, Lee Cowan standing by for us. They're live in Tokyo watching what's happening in Japan just some 36 hours roughly after since this 8.9 earthquake hit. And, you know, Lee teed it off for us very well. That's the relief efforts. There's those concerns. And I'd like now to move to Thomas Tighe, President and CEO of Direct Relief International, who is going to be looking into the relief efforts that are going to be happening going forward. What do you think the biggest challenge is right now here? Thomas?
Well, thanks, Richard. I think, as always, I think one of the biggest things that's a constraint is the lack of information. And we know from having gone through these experiences that in events like this, the search and rescue has to take priority. Obviously, there's a short window. Those people who can be saved need to be saved, and teams from both Fairfax, Virginia, and Los Angeles County have deployed who have that specialized experience. Groups like Direct Relief, who can support on the relief phase, are trying. We can only act when good information becomes available.
Right.
And there's almost a fog of emergencies, just like there's a fog of war. So as much as we're gearing up and mobilizing and staging the materials, you have to wait till there's a clean shot before you can get in there, so you don't clog up the arteries of other key distribution efforts. So that's been going on for the past 36 hours at Direct Relief International.
Coordination, one of the key factors you brought up. Timing is what you also brought up, as well as assets. Now, based on those three criteria that you just laid out for us, there's the timing piece and how soon you need to get there. This as there are perhaps people that need to be rescued.
Right, and as I said, I think the search and rescue effort takes priority for the first 72 hours typically. So that's why, and yet there's four things: food, water, shelter, and medical attention. And I think people can survive for a few days without food. You have to start figuring those out. But finding people who are trapped in the rubble is a priority. So I think the first step is to get the search and rescue, the search dogs, the heavy equipment to find the people who can be saved, while gearing up the food, water, shelter, and medicine. So I think what you're seeing now in the health realm is we know from experience that earthquakes cause traumatic injuries, crush wounds, broken limbs, and that water events cause infections and waterborne illness. This is both in a country that also is trying to respond to a nuclear reactor problem.
Right.
That didn't exist in places like Haiti. So it's a very complicated effort, but we do, without the specific information, you do the best you can to mobilize those trauma care supplies, the anti-infective things in case there's an outbreak from waterborne illness, and then get ready to go once the distribution channels open up.
This is a first world country. It has the best of almost everything in many places of the country, yet they have seen water, walls of water, 23 feet high, according to the reports, moving as much as 6 miles inland, 1,300 miles of coastline that they experienced this. Put this in perspective for us here, Thomas. How does this compare to other disasters that we've seen in recent history?
Well, I think it resembles, from the photographs, it looks more like Banda Aceh than anything that I've seen. And I was there in the extraordinary push of water after an earthquake in Indonesia after that tsunami. It leveled and killed tens of thousands of people. So it's difficult, and we didn't have those photographs that you have now from Japan. Mm-hmm. So I think that's similar. Also, Haiti, it was not a tsunami, but the sheer devastation and the crumbling and the awful human tragedies. We jumped to the response, obviously, but I think those are people who lost their lives, and the concern that we all have has been a very touching moment for us just to receive calls, just even this morning from El Salvador, people who know what it's like to go through an earthquake, have lived through that, and want very much to help people in Japan in their moment of need. So I think Thomas, do see these. Yes.
In their moment of need, we have to go, but what can people do? Japan has reached out to major catastrophes around the world historically. What can we do here in the U.S. very quickly?
Well, I think from our perspective, directrelief.org is where you can get information, make a financial contribution. There's a lot of groups doing different things. Take your time. pick a group that you trust, and you know, financial help is always important, but you know, it's important to help the people in Japan through groups that know what they're doing, and that's what we're trying to do through a coordination with government and other colleague organizations as well.